Okay, so our good friend Mr. Neutral, aka MrPokke, aka the guy who literally 24 hours ago said he wants no part in war and instigation, has made a tweet doing the exact opposite, which is, of course, instigating. And it's about Honkai Star Rail and power creep. And a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it, including me, yes. I felt like, today of all days, why not? It was 8 in the morning, I saw the tweet, I was like, this is a little bit silly. This is a little bit of a silly take, so we're gonna make some silly comments and responses. And we're also gonna see what everybody else has to say. And we're gonna give our opinions about what's going on. So, MrPokke tweeted out, Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen, either by greed or stupidity. Change my mind. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa. What an insane tweet. And I gotta say, 201,000k views and only 1.4k likes is probably one of the worst like to view ratios I've seen on Twitter in a hot minute. I'm gonna be honest. That tells me not everybody's really fucking with this tweet. Maybe all the Honkai Star Rail meta whale nerds that MrPokke has in his community agree with him, right? Because he is the Honkai Star Rail guy, right? Let's not forget, this guy is the Honkai Star Rail guy, okay? He's the go-to for everything Honkai Star Rail, for everything zero cycling. He knows the game in and out more than most people, more than 99.9% of people. So surely we should trust his take, right? Surely Mr. Streamer wouldn't say something so silly. Well, I think he has said something silly. And I saw this tweet and I was like, you know what? I don't think I agree. I think this is a bit silly. Blood is basically insinuating that only if you allow it to happen. Only if you allow it to happen. And framing a tweet in this way is kind of like defending the game, defending the developers, and it's essentially saying, no, there isn't power creep so long as you make the right choices, so long as you pull the right characters, so long as you adjust to the power increase that the devs have done, so long as you adjust and pull accordingly, then technically there is no power creep. Which is, I think, one of the dumbest takes that I've seen in a minute, right? So I looked at this tweet and I was like, this is a bit silly, okay? So I made a response. I think I was the first person to like quote retweet this, I'll be real. I think I was the first person that came up with a thing. And I said, yeah guys, I'm greedy for wanting my favorite characters in the game. Yeah, we're greedy. We're greedy and stupid for wanting to pull the characters we want to pull for. We have to pull for meta. Bro is essentially saying, pull for meta or you're stupid. That's literally what he's saying. And I'm fully aware that Honkai Star Rail is a turn-based, meta-focused game where if you don't pull for meta, expect not to clear the content as easily. But it's a shame when people spend real money for characters that no longer really become as viable as they used to be. Unless you get the new shiny supports to buff them. Case in point, Jing Yuan, right? Jing Yuan suddenly has been revived if you pull for Sunday. So now to get Jing Yuan to work, not only do you have to have him, his light cone, to make him really work, you also have to get Sunday, okay? This is the problem I have with Honkai Star Rail and power creep, right? In some games, in some gachas, vertical investing would be a good idea. And in others, horizontal investing is a good idea. For example, Wuthering Waves, I think, is a great example of why horizontal investment is really good. I'd always recommend having more characters than just investing in one for a game like Wuthering Waves. You have more options, right? But for Honkai Star Rail, not only do you have to horizontally invest in a lot of teams, there are a lot of game modes, don't forget, and a lot of different characters, you also have to vertically invest for them to be truly like good and truly viable. Case in point, E2 Dill, right? Not only do you have to have an E2 Dill, that's 3 copies of him, and a light cone, you also have to have the 5-star supports to make him really, really bang and truly compete with the newer, like, super great characters, right? Like, you might want, like, Robin with him, for example. You might want, like, an Aventurine to partner with. You want a lot of 5-star characters to partner with an E2 Dill. So not only is it horizontal, it's also vertically investing. And for free-to-play people, for casual people, this is really, really difficult to do. And that is only one team. That is only for one team, okay? So all these people who are going, oh, you know, just pull correctly, pull the right characters, yes. You are then limiting yourself to only pulling for maybe 1 or 2 kinds of meta teams if you're a free-to-play or if you're a casual. you're not allowed to pull for new metas that come along. You're not allowed to try and go for like a new kind of playstyle because you're now locked in. You're now locked in and forced to pull for characters maybe you're not interested in to support the team that you're trying to build. Maybe you're building a dot team and you don't have all the characters you need to make a dot team. You're kind of now forced to be like, oh, if I'm not going to be stupid, I should pull the characters to make my team work, right? That's kind of what it is. And it kind of feels shit. It just kind of feels shit when you have to vertically and horizontally invest so much in a game like Honkai Star Rail. Not forgetting, this was the game that started the whole thing of Genshin could never, right? Honkai Star Rail seemed so generous. They gave us so many pulls, so many things for free. They even gave us a free doctor ratio, all that sort of stuff. We all praise Honkai Star Rail for doing this. We said this was a great thing. And now the cracks are beginning to show. Like with Genshin, it took, what, like 2 years for the cracks to start really showing for Genshin and how people weren't particularly happy. I think the exact same thing now is happening for Honkai Star Rail, okay? It's kind of showing. There's a reason why they were so generous with pulls and free units and all this business. Why? Because you need so many characters and maybe copies of them to actually really truly do the endgame content these days. That's why they've seemingly to be so generous, because they need you to have all these characters to do stuff. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, and the cracks are beginning to show. Maybe Honkai isn't as generous as we first thought. There's a reason why we have like 8 characters on a banner coming up. There's a reason why, because you need those characters to make some of your teams work. If you haven't got your Robin yet, you pull your Robin. If you haven't got Fugue, you should pull for the Fug You. You know what I mean? Like, you should pull for the characters that you need to complete your teams, and it feels really shit. It's a good idea to have those characters to choose from to like maybe fill out the last little members of your teams, but for free to play people, oh, it's tough. Oh, it's really, really tough for free to play people to get all these characters. This is why the 50-50 system in Honkai Star Rail is shit. I'm saying it now. 50-50 in Honkai Star Rail is the dumbest thing. I am full belief that it should just be guaranteed characters in Honkai Star Rail. Honkai Star being 50-50 makes it feel so awful to pull for characters because you need them. They are almost essential more than like characters in other gachas, right? You need them for your teams to work properly in a lot of cases, and not getting the character and hitting pity and not winning your 50-50 feels so much worse. At least for me, that's how I feel. It feels so much worse. So much worse. So the 50-50 system for Honkai feels a lot more painful than other gachas for this reason, right? And yeah, and even then the DPSs, you need to get the supports that come out. Once you get the DPS, you need the supports that will come out a couple weeks, a couple months later in the other patches to then make them really, really good. So now it's 2 characters that you need to get to pity for and make sure you win the 50-50s for. It's really hard on casuals and free-to-play players, and it could take them a whole year. People now who are trying to make Super Break teams are still trying to pull for the characters that they couldn't have gotten 7 months ago, and we're about to go into 3.0, and these people still can't pull for the characters they want. It's so annoying. And I don't know why more people are talking about this. I don't know why. It's not okay. I know Honkai Star Rail is the golden boy of like HoYo gacha, but is it? Is it really? Let's talk about it. I won't be pulling for any new characters because as a free-to-play now, I need to vertically invest in older teams to stay ahead. Simply can't chase new stuff with this release schedule. Exactly. People are forced to either vertically invest in teams they already have to make them keep up, or they have to horizontally invest in new supports and new teams to chase the new meta. Free-to-plays have to decide. They have to decide. And it's a lot of pulls and a lot of if, buts, and maybes, a lot of 50-50s to win. That isn't fair. It's too many. A 50-50 system in Honkai Star Rail fucking sucks. And this is a prime example of why it fucking sucks, okay? There's a reason why there's 8 banners. Because people have not been able to get the characters they need to really boost the teams that they have, okay? So let me go through my tweet. I said, what is bro waffling about? This is so British. Only if you allow it to happen. This sounds like the most cope ever. Ah yes, it's the consumer's fault for problematic power creep, not the devs who make the metas that force you to pull for the respective characters. This is really weird framing, okay? So MrPokke is basically saying, no, it's a you problem. You're stupid and greedy. Power creep isn't real. You're being stupid and greedy. This is the most insane take. It's almost like you have to acknowledge that the devs make new metas and they do HP. He's spoken about HP inflation. He knows that there's a literal power creep. They've literally made enemies stronger. HP inflation is the best way to universally make a power creep because it applies a higher difficulty for every single character universally across the board without having to introduce a new like gimmick for like a certain set of characters. It's a universal power creep for everybody. And you've acknowledged this. So I don't know why he's saying, no, it doesn't exist. It does. And you've already spoken about it. It's really weird framing. The cracks of Honkai Star Rail are starting to show, and it's very obvious to anyone that plays regularly that characters have a far shorter shelf life than other gachas. They do. Unless you vertically invest in them or horizontally invest for their support, the characters you pull don't stand out on their own for very long. You have to end up getting supports for them. They cannot be stand out on their own. I don't know anyone who disagree with this. I don't know anybody who would disagree with this. Yes, your issues with MOC can be mitigated by pulling smarter / prioritizing team comps that work in your favor rather than pulling for fun. But the main issue is that the older characters not being as viable. I didn't say they're not viable. I said as viable, frequently unusable or very painful to do so, feels worse because there's literally 0 point to ever use them. You are either incentivized to vertically invest in old characters or horizontally invest in support, and sometimes it's both. Case in point, E2 Dill, right? Case in point. Is there power creep? Absolutely. HP inflation is just a general, universal power creep. We cannot deny that. It is just a truth. Is it a problem? If you cannot even clear content you were previously comfortable doing, yes. This is very individual. This is very specific to you, the consumer, the person playing the game. If you suddenly can't do the content you could do a month ago with the characters you have, yes, that's a problem for you. It is the problem. You can no longer get the rewards you once used to. Now you're stuck with like, okay, I have to pull for new characters, or somehow I have to buff my teams that I already have. Maybe you've already got a super break team and suddenly they're not performing as well. You either need to get a new support or you're going to have to get more copies of your DPSs to make them work, right? Or maybe you get the light cones or something like that, right? It becomes, it's a problem only if you are noticing a change, right? If you are noticing a change, then yes, it's a problem. But is there power creep overall? Absolutely. I think that's what MrPokke should have said. Is there power creep? Yes. But it's only a problem if it's affecting the way that you play. If suddenly you can't clear what you used to, then it becomes a problem for you. That is the truth. And I think he should have worded it like that, rather than trying to say that power creep wasn't really a thing, right? You are effectively pulling for 6 months of fun for a character unless they're a support. Knowing your character has a time limit is turbo giga shite. True. It really feels like after 6 months, it's kind of like, they're okay, but you need to pull these other 3 characters alongside with them to make that whole team work properly. It feels kind of ass. And we all know that's the case. Anyone who says that's not the case, you're just lying. That is how it is, right? That just is how it is. Team comps in Honkai Star Rail are so innately synergistic. Having to replace or pull for new characters to fill in the gaps often means having to do a lot of work to your entire team to make them run properly. Every time you grab a new support for your team, you've got to build them, make sure you speed tune things correctly, make sure you've got the right sets on them. Sometimes you have to reshuffle things of the characters you already have in a team to make sure your entire team then works well. Every time you replace a person, it can kind of feel like shit building up a whole new team again. You know what I mean? That's really what I mean by this. They're so synergistic, and it can throw everything out the whack when you start adding new characters in, but there we go. HP inflations are the only way to make content harder universally for all characters without having to introduce any new BS gimmick that you need to pull BS characters for. So I'm not entirely mad at this. I'm not. HP inflations are literally the only way to universally make enemies stronger without fucking with the whole systems of the game. It's a thing, and it was bound to happen. But the downside is, again, older teams, maybe they could be viable, but they're not as viable. They're more painful to clear content with, and you're gonna have to vertically or horizontally invest in them to make them good again. Case in point, Jingyuan and Sunday. Case in point. I've played Honkai Star Rail since launch. Yep, I played Minute 1. As soon as that game came out, I played Minute 1. It's probably my most played gacha. True. I love it, but we all know Super Break follow-up teams would mean this would happen. Now we wait for 3.0 to give us a new bullshit meta that will make MOC trivial again, rinse and repeat. This is really what it is. This is setting us up completely for 3.0, for the summon meta. We're all going to be making summon teams, and that's going to be the thing. That's going to be the thing, and they're going to do insane amounts of damage, and we'll all have this conversation again in 6 months' time. That really is what it is. So I think MrPokke had a problem with wording in this tweet. Power creep does exist, and it is a problem. It is definitely a problem, okay? If suddenly you cannot clear content that you used to, suddenly it's a lot harder to clear content. You might have spent money on the characters to clear content, and suddenly doesn't clear anymore. It means these characters have like a time limit to how super effectively useful they are. There's a time limit to how effective these characters are. And it feels way shorter than in other gacha games. You can still use a Hu Tao today to clear things. It's been a year for Nuvalet. I can still use him on his own to solo a lot of Spiral Abyss. You know what I mean? Honkai Star doesn't feel that way. It feels way more restrictive and way more time limited. Chat, do we have any opinions so far? Does anybody y'all are a bit quiet. Does anyone disagree with me? Do not have any takes? I would love to hear some input from you guys. Hu Tao did power creep Klee. That's fair. That's fair. But has anyone really power creep Hu Tao into what she does and what she plays for? That you could still comfortably clear things with Hu Tao is my point. Anybody have something to add to that conversation? Anybody? Or are we just quiet today? Are we just chilling? Are we just chilling? Are we dead? My whole chat dead. No. Nah, I don't disagree. I'm only worried about TOA going the same way as Honkai Star Rail. We could talk about TOA another time. Absolutely. Klee's gameplay was horrible. Yeah, Klee is really clunky to use. Klee is incredibly clunky to use. No issues found. So no one is disagreeing with what I'm saying. There could be a case for Ala power creeping Hu Tao. That's fair. But how many years was that? How many years was that? How many years was that? Okay. So what is EO had to say on the take? Okay. What is EO, the bad takes man innately? What does he have to say on all this thing? Okay. This Honkai Star Rail power creep discussion is funny for a number of factors. Most of y'all are arguing with folks you constantly go to for game advice. But the moment they say something you don't like, they don't know what they're talking about. What are you... I feel like this is EO trying to defend MrPokke. It's kind of like, you know, you guys go for him for advice, but you know, he's saying something you don't like, so he's wrong. Guess what? People are still, people are allowed to have like free thought and free opinions. And when people like... This is assuming that the person you're going to for advice is always right. He is assuming that the person you're going to for advice, in this case MrPokke, is like always right. And if we disagree with his take, it's not us that are like, it's us that are wrong. Because he must be always right. So therefore, oh, we don't like what he's saying. Not that, oh, we think he's wrong. It's a, oh, it's something we don't like. This is a really, really strange way to phrase something. You're assuming that he's always going to be right and he always has the correct take. And it's us that we just don't like what he's saying. Not that we can be free thinkers. We can still think for ourselves and be like, we can still disagree with his take. We can still disagree with what he's saying, even though people go to him for advice. I find this is a very weird way of framing. It's putting the blame on the person. It's putting blame on the people, like saying, you know, we kind of disagree with you, MrPokke. It's weird. So this is just really weird framing and always assuming the person making the take is going to be right. And maybe it is a bit of projection on his part. It's just a little bit weird. Honkai Star Rail is a meta-driven game. No one's denying that. No one is denying that. Stop fighting about what it is and making decisions based on what it's not, then complaining about it later. What do you mean? I feel like no one's doing this. Like, people are talking about power creep. People aren't talking about really like meta. Everyone knows Honkai Star Rail is a meta-driven game. But the problem is, when metas become the power creep, right? People are talking about the viability of characters they previously pulled for, And the fact now that mainly free-to-play people are either stuck trying to build old teams and vertically invest in them to make them compete with new teams, or they have to just bite the bullet and go with like newer teams and newer metas. It's a hard decision for free-to-play people to make. It is. A lot of the community loves to pretend they know everything, always have, and then assumes every other player should too. In reality, all of us aren't some cracked out Honkai star meta head. Example, the guy who played Acheron Ratio boot him. Okay, what is... Again, it feels like he's just kind of like having a go at people or like making takes against Pokke. I don't know what this is. A lot of the community pretends to know everything. People aren't pretending to know. People are just voicing, like, people are literally just voicing their opinions and frustrations about Honkai Star Rail and about power creep. And it's being like, no, actually, community, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. It's like, let's not do the Genshin thing. Let's not do the Genshin thing when people are like starting to feel uncomfortable about a certain topic. And people be like, no, actually, it's fine. It's not as bad as you think it is. Stop thinking it's something that it's not. Like, let's not go the Genshin route. Okay, because it's coming up for that 2-year period for Honkai Star. The honeymoon phase is coming to an end. Let's not do what Genshin people did and be like, let's just, you know, no, it's fine. You're wrong. It's fine. Let's not do that. This is bad. So far, he's just talking about the community's takes on the current Honkai Star Rail thing, and basically we don't know what we're talking about. Okay, now let's get into what he actually thinks. Let's go what he actually thinks. Okay. Power creep exists. Good. It's absolutely the dev's fault. True. But players share some of that fault. What fault do players have? What fault? I feel like it's such a shit thing. I feel for a gacha game, it's such a shit thing for being like, chat, it's your fault. You're stupid. You're the stupid ones for now having to vertically invest in an old team or horizontally invest to make that team work again. It's your fault, chat, for not doing that properly. It's so weird. Why are we framing it so negatively against the people who want to play and enjoy the game? That's the thing that is really rubbing me the most with this tweet and also MrPokke's tweet. It feels so negative towards the people who just want to play the game and enjoy it and have fun. I don't like it. I think he means because the OP characters sell better but so badly worded. True, it's my fault my favorite characters are useless. It's like... Oh, I don't like this framing at all, because actions speak as loud as words, i.e. in-game clear records of the player base shouting power creep to the heavens before it was actually here. What do you mean? People were saying power creep like weeks and months ago. Artificial power creep. Bro, artificial power creep is still power creep. Bringing in a super break meta where those characters perform better than other normal like crit units is still a level of power creep. You might say it's artificial, it's not real because it's really just a gimmick and not because of anything else. It's still a form of power creep. What do you mean to the heavens before it was actually here? It's been here for a hot minute. Downplaying, gassing up characters before proper testing, etc. People did do this with Rapper. People did do this with like Rapper, for example, and Fug You and things like that. And I don't disagree with this. People have been downplaying characters and gassing up ones that probably aren't as good. That's definitely been a thing. I'm not disagreeing with that. But like, people power creep to the heavens before it was actually here. People knew this was going to be an issue. And look what's happening. Super break meta 4-ups were so strong they had to HP inflate bosses now to make sure that they could introduce new characters that could do even more damage. It's what this is. People were aware and they've been saying it and they've been cautious of it. Shouting power creep to the heavens. Again, it's our fault, guys. It's our fault, guys. Rapper, Ruin Mage, Jiaoqi, exactly. But to be fair, I don't think Ruon Mei was slept on. I remember when Ruon Mei, like everyone was talking about her kit before they came out, everybody said to get Ruon Mei. Everybody said to go Ruon Mei. She was gonna be broken. Everybody said this. I remember it. Everybody said it. And that's why I pulled her, because everyone was saying, you should pull for Ruon Mei, should be great. And then I managed to get 2 dupes of her in one temple, which was great. And then I got her like her. I don't think, no one didn't diss Ruon Mei. I think everybody knew. Yes, the gacha smack. I specifically remember the gacha smack video where he was like, nah, listen, Ruon Mei is cracked. She's going to be broken. I remember that, and I pulled Ruon Mei because of him. I remember it. So everyone who's like, oh, downplaying, no one people did not downplay Ruon Mei. Either they found her neutral or they were really excited for her. I remember I followed gacha smack's advice, and it's been the best thing I did for Honkai Star Rail, okay? So if there's anyone's opinion I'm gonna trust more than anyone, to be honest, it's probably gonna be gacha smacks. I'll be real. That dude saved my account. That dude saved my account, right? You absolutely need to be planning pulls as free-to-play to succeed or spend money. Yes, you absolutely need to plan your pulls as free-to-play. But planning for pulls does not guarantee you're going to get the characters. But outside of Smack was downplayed, I don't think it really was. I don't know. I don't really think that it was. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree, and people can have their own opinion. I feel like she was really obvious that people should have been pulling for her, but maybe whatever. I was in the trenches fighting people who said Ruon Mei wasn't good. Fair enough, right? You absolutely, yes, you have to plan pulls as free to play to succeed. The problem is a 50-50 system exists in fucking Honkai Star Rail. Unfortunately, a game where you really need certain characters to synergize with your teams. Maybe sometimes you need to vertically invest a little bit for it to succeed. Having a 50-50 system feels so much worse than other gacha games. It really does. Because suddenly you won't be able to get the characters you want. I haven't been able to pull for Robin the 2 times that she's been rerun. And now they had to introduce an A banner system so you can actually get the character that you want before 3.0 starts, really, right? That feels like ass. It feels like ass. Being free to play this game sucks. It does. I'm sorry. Free to play Honkai Star Rail sucks the most compared to any of the gachas so far. I'm sorry. It does. And free to play players, they lose that 50-50. They keep pulling. They have Robin. Now they have Robin. Now they have no fucking pulls to spend for anybody else. Now they have to wait and save for months. It could take people 6 months to save up for the characters to get them on their reruns again. It could take a long time. It feels like shit is free to play. Just because they have the character now, Sarah, doesn't mean that it wasn't shit getting there. Just because they finally got them doesn't mean they had to wade through the shit to finally have the character that would make their team work. It doesn't suck being free to play. I'm the healthiest I've been and having the most fun not playing the game. Each patch in Honkai Star gets roughly 80 to 100 pulls, but you get 2 5-stars per patch, so 50 per 5-star. It's fair. Okay, understood. All right. Okay, what else have we got? Free-to-players get 6 to 12 pities a year if you grind the hell out of the game, which means if you lose 50-50 on a banner you save pity for, you're cooked. Honkai Star Rail moves so fast with little to no real forced alternatives with powerful archetypes. True. Having 4 stars in your teams in Honkai Star Rail sucks balls. It always sucks balls. You'll always want the 5-star alternative replacement for your characters. Every single time. Literally every single time. Case in point, my follow-up facial team feels fucking ass without the 5 stars that I need for it. It really fucking does. That you would need to save 3 to 4 pennies just to guarantee a proper vertical investment. Meaning now you gotta look and trust leaks. Bad because they've been wrong plenty of times before. Get lucky is not an answer to anyone should accept. Pull better. Pull better is what it is. This part of EO's tweet I agree with. I agree with wholeheartedly. Honkai Star Rail moves so quickly and saving for pennies fucking sucks. He is totally right in this paragraph. He's totally right. This version of HP inflation is almost a direct result of the 0 cycles. I don't know if it's a result of 0 cycles, but the proof that people are able to clear content almost immediately in a 0 cycle definitely says to the devs, hey, maybe we should make our content a bit harder so they can't do this. Maybe the content is so easy that, because don't forget, 0 cycles are watched by a lot of people too. A lot of people watch like watching that content. So it gives the false impression that a lot of people can do it. No. 0 cycles are a very, very, very niche thing for Honkai Star Rail. Very niche. That does not mean it's the act of 0 cycles that is a problem, but I'm just shorthanding my point. Honkai Star Rail devs are looking at players who understand the game well, above average, as a line, this is where everybody is. We can't know this. We can't know this. This isn't true. We can't know that the devs look at 0 cycles and think this is where players are at. I don't agree with this. which resulted in them trying to stop those players from being able to consistently do that. He's kind of talking like this is fact. This isn't fact. This is just speculation. This is speculation. But I think, you know, zero cycles are like, they're a correlation, but it's not a causation. Do you know what I mean? As an indirect result, the actual average player is getting cucked. Instant by recent free-to-play centric videos about Honkai Star Rail. There could be a level of truth to this, but we don't know this as fact. It's purely speculation at this point. 0.1 to 0.3% of players that do endgame zero cycle is probably an overestimate. Out of the player base that's try endgame 95 3-star with 76 2.0, based on statistically relevant data through CN and NA data. Might not be relevant at this point anymore. Okay. I'd play with try endgame. Yeah, I actually like less than 1% of people actually like zero cycle endgame, sure. But the point is, people consume that content. People watch that content a lot, right? And that could raise the popularity of people wanting to zero cycle and know that it's a thing, right? It could be kind of what he's alluding to, but I don't necessarily agree that we could say for sure that zero cycle is the reason we're having HP inflation. I don't. Based on the devs, HoYo Labs data, Twitter complaints, and Pludwen data, most of the community doesn't know how to actually play the game beyond ABC tutorial. This is true for any gacha. This is literally true for any gacha, right? For any of them. And I think it feels worse for Honkai Star Rail because you do need to be more meta specific. You do need to be more synergistic with your teams. It feels even worse. If you're someone who just pushes buttons, it will feel worse for you. This would normally be okay if HP inflation wasn't so high, but right now we're dealing with it, which means the player has to find ways to beat it. There are only two answers as of right now: spend dollars to catch up or play leagues better. Pokke borderline made an EO take, which means he's right, he just expressed it poorly. That's N cordial dogs. I know, I woke up in awe. So EO is kind of admitting that all his takes are right. EO believes all his takes are right is poorly worded. For a start, EO, I love you, dude, but you can't continually say that you are making correct takes. People are just like taking it the wrong way or being expressed wrong. You have made takes that aren't correct, and we need to like just again think about that for a tiny bit. Sure, you maybe express things wrong sometimes, but what you say matters. What you say matters. And again, it kind of leads to this thing up here of like, this is where the projection's coming from, right? He's talking as if Pokke can never be wrong. He's always going to be right. And if we disagree, it's because we don't like it. That's how he sees us. Anyone that disagrees with EO, this is how he sees us, by the way. This is what he's saying. This is what he's saying. And I like EO, but like, dude, I don't like this, the framing of these things. I just really don't. I just don't. It's what it is. I guess talking about power creep, whatever. Okay, so that's kind of how it is. So there's my take. That's EO's take. We can't deny that power creep doesn't exist in Honkai Star Rail. It literally does. People have been saying about it for a long time, and now here it is. Okay. It just really sucks with free-to-play people. The solution to fix this is to make characters guaranteed, pity. Make them guaranteed. Get rid of the 50-50. I'm telling you, that's how you make this game fucking good. I'm being so honest. How to make Honkai Star Rail good? Guaranteed characters. Do it. I promise you. Everyone will fucking love the game again. It will be fine. People won't have to worry about reruns the whole time. We'll have to have this 8-banner problem. Make characters guaranteed. That literally just makes the game a million times fucking better. Because it's... teams and characters rotate out so quickly. So quickly that your characters feel that they are less value over time compared to other games. What did Box have to say? Nah, bro. Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem and you can't just not allow it to happen. You can make smarter pulls, but it doesn't solve power creep. It just makes it slightly less bad, and you're not taking into account people with shit luck, like what it takes me to max 180 pulls to get new cards every banner and you're free to play. Yep. Now, what would be better is if light cones were not on banners. I'm not spending, let's remove 50-50. At least reruns. Yeah, at least have reruns on discount, something. No, get rid of 50-50. Just let people have guaranteed characters. Do a PGR. Let them have guaranteed characters. We need so many of them. Let them be guaranteed. It's so shit. It really is. Oh, but no, 50-50 is so good for the game. Honkai Star Rail will die without it. No. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Cease. You think people aren't going to spend money on Honkai Star Rail? I think people would be more inclined to spend money if they knew it was guaranteed. If they knew they weren't going to miss out on this character, they'd be more inclined to spend money. I'll be real. 50-50 is the worst fucking thing in gachas right now, especially for Honkai Star Rail. Especially. That would mean a heck of a lot less money for them. Honkai Star Rail needs to badly fall off before that happens. I disagree. I don't think it would be that much of less money lost. I think people would be more inclined to actually spend to get the characters they want, knowing they're guaranteed. Poke for real thinks life is blue lock. Just add luck into your flow state. Yeah, it's a lot of opinions, a lot of taste going around, and it kind of fucking sucks. It kind of sucks. So what I'm going to do is I will do Memory of Chaos. I will log back into Honkai Star Rail. I haven't played it in like ages since Sunday came out, and we'll see what we get out. But anyway. That's my take on Honkai Star Rail metas. That's my take on Honkai Star Rail power creeps. This is all silly. This is all silly. And this Poke's take needs to go to the gacha takeout. This is where we got it from. The gacha takeout. It's crazy. Missed opportunity for my burgers ad. Oh my god, Oofy, stop!